Good morning, everyone. Kris here with Inspired Energy. Joining me in this Human Design New Year is Hartwell. Good morning, Hartwell.
Good morning, Kris. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, so that's our topic for today. The sun is in gate 41, which is the Human Design New Year. And can you give us like a general overview on what's going on with the outer planets this year, especially Pluto and Aquarius?
Absolutely. um, for those who've been following this series, we may have talked about Gate 41 before in various contexts, but every year around this time for 5, 6 days, the sun is in Gate 41. And Gate 41 is what starts everything. In human design, it's called the gate of contraction. Sometimes it's called the gate of fantasy, but this is where the human experiential way is initiated. In genetics, it is the instructions given at the beginning of every new piece of information. I mean, every new piece of instruction starts with gate 41. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a gathering. Why is it called contraction? It's kind of like think of birthing, thinking of think of a pregnant woman going into labor. There's a contraction that happens. The
Mm-hmm.
energy has to gather, and that gathering energy looks like or can express itself as a kind of a desire, a yearning, an excitement, an idea that sparks a person to a new aspect of experience. And so that's what gate 41 is. And that's why it's a new year.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where that energy for beginning is really favored.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So, what is the significance of Gate 41 and why is it called that? Like, what is the difference between this gate and any other gate?
Well, as I say, it's because down in the root, this is the pressure, like all root gates. This is a drive, but this is the drive to begin a new stream of experience. So there's a couple of channels, the 4130 and then the 3635, which
Mm-hmm.
is the channel of transitoriness, which carry us along. They they make us willing
Mm-hmm.
to enter into new avenues of experience.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, it feels like the Fool card in the tarot.
Yeah,
And
it
the
always feels like
41,
I'm starting.
yeah, the 41 is that willingness. I mean, it's sparked by something, Kris. It's
Right.
sparked by something. So that spark happens, and then that sets us off on a new direction and a new journey.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know what that journey is. So, I mean, this
Just
idea that humans always know where something is going to go is false.
we just
We
have
don't
to
know
be
where a
willing to
journey.
play, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's an
exactly.
invitation to play on the deepest of levels because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, some of the journeys, experiential journeys that we're catalyzed into, they could take us to a lot of suffering as well.
Yeah.
But we entered into this gate. What is it? It's Wednesday now. Monday. Monday,
Mm-hmm.
we entered into this gate,
Mm-hmm.
and we will be in this gate until Saturday. So you go through the first line, second line, third line, fourth line, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have now till Saturday where we're in this energy.
So, how,
Um,
how do we
so
make use of this energy? So, we're in it until Saturday. So, what is it that we can do to help facilitate to use this to our best advantage?
well, I've played with this. I mean, am I sensitive? Are you sensitive? This is it's an invitation to kind of pay attention to your experience and that idea that the idea that we have around the beginning of January where we should start new things. This
Mm-hmm.
is actually the time that favors that. So if there are things that you want to, if you want to do some brainstorming or initiating at this point, if
Mm-hmm.
there is some dream that is alive in you, now is the time to cultivate that in your awareness for these few days, because it'll be an energy that is friendly to that.
Ah, wonderful. So you talk a lot about Pluto going into Aquarius. So what are the implications of this now on a planetary scale or global scale?
Yes, I do love talking about Pluto being a Scorpio and Pluto being my ruling planet. This whole idea of transformation is seductive to me.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, death and rebirth, mm, they're not just a walk in the park.
Mm-hmm.
But what excites me is, as somebody who tries to be responsive to the energy of the times, watching Pluto, and you can watch it really slowly because it spends like better than a decade in each sign. So I mean, this is a slow watch, but um, it it really does affect the energy of a generation a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So here we last year in 2023, Pluto went into Aquarius for a time, and then it retrograded back into Capricorn. Now in February, not February, we're not there yet.
We're in
January 20th.
January.
January
We're
20th,
it's the 24th.
Pluto entered into Aquarius again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be there until September, and then it's going to duck back into Capricorn for a bit. And then in November 19th of this year, it goes into Aquarius, and it'll be there for the next 22 years, 20
Mm-hmm.
years, till 2044.
Mm-hmm.
So some of us, this will be our maybe our last experience of Pluto. But so the last couple of years have been rough for all of us. And we have this feeling of massive changes going on. So in that respect, I'm excited about Pluto and Aquarius because it's going to bring something different,
Well,
and we have some ideas. We we have some ideas of what that's going to bring, but it's
mm-hmm.
going to bring a different flavor to the collective energetic background.
Yeah, I think what I like the most about all of this energy is the fact that it talks about the archetypes of the genius, the revolutionary, the humanitarian, the scientist, and the sage, which are, you know, really powerful um, energies. So people are wanting change and needing change. And so this whole um, aspect of Pluto going into Aquarius is helping to facilitate that. We're going to see those new ideas and all of those things that you talk about all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I would say here we've got our second kick at the can. It's like dipping your toe in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So between now and September, we can wade into our ankles, that Aquarian energy, and sort of test it out, feel it out. And then
Mm-hmm.
we say goodbye to Capricorn from September to November. And then we're fully in this new energy and what it may bring for us. And as
Mm-hmm.
you say, those archetypes, they are refreshing, the idea
Mm-hmm.
of genius and innovation and science, scientific breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
That brings a a more positive vibe, I think, than the totalitarian energy that Capricorn can have. The
Yeah.
heavy, serious energy. So,
I like that
I
some of
mean,
the technological breakthroughs are actually what I'm witnessing is proving the Bible, is proving old ways of doing things. So I find that really interesting too, that is sort of coming about. We talk about technology and all of these wonderful things, but it's actually proving old knowledge, right?
Mm.
And it's starting to become mainstream. Yeah.
Do you have an example of that, Kris?
Well, things like that, they're discovering that the DNA, right,
Hmm.
actually in our bodies, when they break it down numerologically, is God eternal within us, right? So
Ah,
that's what the
cool.
words are. So,
Yeah.
or like from the Bible, when it talks about washing, don't wash certain fabrics together, right? Because one will shrink, one won't, but
Hmm.
so I find all of that really interesting, right? Hmm.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
And and I mean, that's part of what we can expect with Pluto and Aquarius, because Aquarius does rule science,
Hmm.
is that there are new technologies that could potentially really revolutionize our society.
Hmm.
And you'd think, well, with all the technological change that's happened in the last 100 years, how much more change can we handle? But, the energy of Aquarius itself might help us, in a sense, adjust to those new technological energies.
Hmm.
But Aquarius also rules how we relate as groups, as a
Hmm.
society. So
Communities.
humanitarianism and right activism around human rights and all of those things also are ruled by Aquarius.
But I think communities, you mentioned that, and I think that the networking and the communities and people coming together is shifting much more than we used to have this competitive, you know, um, when it comes to business. But now we're starting to see people starting to cooperate and collaborate for the good of all, right? And I think that is going to be a big shift.
Yes. And we've also talked about how cell phones, as one example, have really changed the patterns of how we relate to each other.
Hmm.
In many ways, not for the best.
Hmm.
But we'll probably see other ways where we recognize a need for greater connection, and we find ways to do that with, that are actually facilitated rather than seem to kind of work against it.
Hmm.
So Sangat, the development or the coming together in community is going to be one of the themes of Aquarius.
Hmm.
And remember, the Aquarius brings to light Pluto brings to light what doesn't work.
Hmm.
So it acts as a kind of a purification energy as well. Um, kind of burning down the prairie, to make way for a new forest kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, so freedom, innovation, social activism. Um, I was briefly, as I was researching this, I came across a YouTube video where a guy decided, where an astrologer in the States decided that he was going to look back to about 500 BC toward today and see what happened in all the Pluto and Aquarius cycles.
Hmm.
And it was a 4-hour YouTube, so I haven't had a chance to watch it all, but
Yeah, I think the way that I understood it is it's the dawning of the golden ages. Like it's every time where something huge shift happened within the collective, right?
well, an astrological age is about 2,100 years.
Hmm.
So we've been in the age of Pisces for that long.
Hmm.
And so this is a very epic long cycle.
Hmm.
But we are at some point moving into the age of Aquarius at the same time. So the idea that we are also for Pluto is also going into Aquarius is a nice boost to that energy, I would say.
Hmm.
I mean, because Pluto cycles 248 years. So
Hmm.
248 years ago, Pluto was in Aquarius as well.
Hmm.
Um, but a couple of the things that have happened, for instance, I think China invented gunpowder, and it invented paper. And these things came into the Western world, during times when Pluto was in Aquarius. Copernicus, who basically is the one who said, people, the sun is not at the center of the universe, the sun is. That completely revolutionized our understanding of understanding of our place in the universe, and that happened when Pluto was in Aquarius. So those are a couple of interesting examples. That what we're in for perhaps is a revolution in the way we actually see ourselves in relationship to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But I too am looking forward to everything that we have talked about, and been looking forward to since the 60s when we started talking about the age of Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to this as perhaps being a kind of a strong entry point into that energy.
Exactly. All right. So with that, is there any last words you want to say about Happy New Year and Gate 41 before we sign off?
I would say, check in with your experience and see if there isn't you don't feel some sort of invitation to enter into that energy of cultivating a new dream, a new direction, a new adventure, and let that unfold the way it needs to. And maybe with that energy, you want to come in and explore your human design here at Clair-i-tea, or maybe you want to take the human design course that I created online in the fall. We also have a lot of new things happening for this year at Clair-i-tea, so check them out on our website.
Yeah, for sure. With that, we will say sayonara, God bless, and we'll join us next week when we'll find out what the subject is, because we don't know already. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. Happy New Year 2024.